everyone. My name is Kat Savage and I'm a professional artist, clinical hypnotherapist and well-being expert working with those in the creative arts sector. In my line of work, I get to meet some amazing, colourful people, from actors to artists, people who live their lives by their own rules, fueled by passion and determination to bring their unique talents into the world. I wanted to discover what it took for people to leave the usual 9 to 5 and hop on a dream, to capture their bravest moments and share these meaningful conversations with you, so that together we can explore the ideas, emotions and moments that could potentially change our lives too. The Brave Moment podcast begins now, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, probably the bravest moment not only for my guests, but for the whole world. So let's keep talking, have some fun, and enjoy the show. This week on the show, we speak to international ballet dancer Megan Cameron. After attending the Royal Ballet School in London and graduating from Rambert with a BA Honours, Megan has gone from strength to strength with her dance, performing in Thursford's Christmas Spectacular, the biggest Christmas show in Europe, to landing her dream job in Mathew Bourne's Swan Lake as the Hungarian Princess, and also playing the principal role of the Queen, which toured internationally for 18 months. Megan talks to us this week about what it takes to pursue your dream and gives advice about how to handle the incredibly demanding lifestyle that physical performers have to face. With her welcome honesty and brilliant sense of humour, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to this incredibly strong and beautiful young woman, the lovely Megan Cameron. Megan Cameron, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear your voice. How's your lockdown been? What have you been up to?
It's definitely been up and down for me. Sometimes I've been in a foul mood and been very want my normal life back, want to go on stage, want to go to the beer garden, want to do all of that, wild night out. And then other times I've been pretty positive and just when do we get this time where we're almost forced to just sort of focus in on ourselves and have the space and spend time with loved ones and things. So, you've got to try and look at it in a positive light sometimes. But it's been fine. I'm still here.
I love your attitude. I hope that other people out there are feeling the same as you and they're not too miserable, because it has been literally a year now.
I can't believe
this crazy time. I can't believe it either. And I know as a fellow creative, it's nuts, isn't it, for our sectors right now? It's absolutely nuts.
It's absolutely mental.
Yeah, and I was totally thinking of you actually when they did the Fatima's Future is in Cyber.
Oh my god!
When that campaign came out, I was just my heart was enraged, and I can't even imagine what that must have felt for you as a dancer. How did you react to that, and how did your friends react to that?
There was just an absolute outrage across the dancing sector of the arts and other people that are in the arts as well, because we already feel like we're a very underappreciated sector anyway, in general, for funding, we just sort of come last in everything, even though we do provide a lot of people with, all of the TV shows, all of the theatre pieces that have been put on, the music, everything that's kept people going through lockdown is because of us and because of the work that we've put in either prior or during. We've made it happen. So to then turn around and be told, actually, do you know what? Give up on all those years you spent putting hard work into everything and just, go into doing cyber stuff, go into working for BT. That's fine for people who want to work in it, but we do what we do because we love it. And I think it really was just a bit of we really don't matter.
Do you know, my heart absolutely goes out to you, because obviously I'm in the music sector, and I feel so grateful that you, lovely Megan Cameron, actually contributed to a video of ours during lockdown, which won us a Prestige Award, which who knows if we're ever going to get it. But this April we're supposed to go up and collect this award for our stuff that we did online, and you were a massive part of that. And I know that creators in general have been helping each other out just to keep ourselves going through this time. but I utterly agree. Like, I just feel like our jobs have just been put into limbo, haven't they?
It's just like, you may never get back to it. We just don't know at this point. It's like, you might never dance again. We don't know.
Let's not think like that, shall we, Megan Cameron?
Okay, sorry, I'm back on the positive.
Phew, we need your attitude to shine through. Okay, so I'm going to take you back in time.
Yes.
And I would love for you to just tell me, what were you like as a child? And if you could go back in time and meet yourself now as a child, do you think they'd be impressed with what you do now?
Oh, God. I mean, I think, well, first of all, as a child, I was very enthusiastic, very big and extroverted, always a big performer. I was never not putting on a show for my mum or dancing. I've got a very good image of me in Barbie wellies, completely naked with an umbrella dancing. Like, literally, I was just one of those very happy-go-lucky, loved life and just loved anything. If music was on, I was there, I was dancing, I was having a great time. But I think if my childhood Megan could see where I am now, I think I would be absolutely blown away with where I've come to. Because I don't know, I always loved it, but I don't know if I ever as a child would have thought I would be here, having performed in incredible shows in amazing places, traveled the world doing what I love. I think she'd be like, yeah, girl, you did it. Oh, yeah.
It's always nice to know when your childhood persona is proud of the adult person that you've become. Like, you know, I always think back to that, and I think, you know, when I was a little girl,
wee little girl,
I was always like, I'm going to be on the stage, and I didn't know in what capacity I was going to be on the stage, but I knew that I loved it.
Yeah,
and I often, when I pose this question to my guests, I often think to myself, would my child persona be happy with? Yeah, she'd be down with it.
Yeah,
she'd love it.
Definitely.
She'd so be down with it. So I'm glad you've made like little girl Megan proud in your life.
Yeah.
Can you remember your childhood room? What were your favourite things in it?
Oh my God, I've had quite a few rooms because we had quite a big house, and I went from having a room that then my dad for my birthday turned it into a dance studio, which I was obsessed with the bars and everything.
Wow.
Was brilliant. But I had an amazing room that I got to pick what I wanted myself, and it was all this sort of baby blue colour. And for some reason, I think, well, I've always been obsessed with animals and the water and everything. I wanted these silver like bubbles painted on the wall, so my dad had to go around and hand paint all of these like silver bubbles in all different sizes. I wanted them all different around the walls in like little clusters and sections. I was very artistic, apparently. Yeah, so I had that, and I also had a really old rocking horse, which we still have somewhere, but a really old rocking horse, and that used to be in my room, which could kind of be kind of creepy if you think, like, you know, horror films. But I loved that rocking horse, and I can still sort of see that in my room.
What a lovely, beautiful, creative household. And I've had the privilege of seeing, you know, meeting your sister and meeting your mum.
They're amazing women. Amazing.
They are absolutely fantastic. And all of you are so, so creative. So it doesn't surprise me that you had a wonderful childhood room full of creativity. What smell reminds you of home?
Now, it's the Lenore fabric softener, and it's the one that's sort of like goldy on the outside, because my mum uses it for our washing, and whenever I smell it, it just smells like home, everything, because it's where all of our clothes are washed with that softener, and I can smell it now always. Or coffee, because my mum drinks a lot of coffee. There's always like a nice freshly made coffee somewhere.
So here you are in this beautiful room with wonderful, fresh smells of Lenore and coffee wafting through your house. When did you start dancing? Like, when did you turn around to mum and go, Mum, I'd like to be a dancer, please?
I basically never stopped moving as a child, very energetic, and I think it was a bit much for my mum. She was like, okay, this is really quite intense. She's always like on the go. And actually, one of my very close friends, Holly, her mum worked with my mum at the time, and she just said to my mum, oh, well, Holly goes to a dance school run by this lady called Sharon Linden, and she goes like every Friday and does some class and stuff. Maybe you should take Megan there. So mum took me to Sharon's school, and literally the rest was history. I went first of all to some baby ballet classes when I was about 4 or 5.
Wow.
Started doing that then, and then it just grew bigger and bigger. I started going nearly every night after school. It would literally be you get home, put your hair into your ballet bun, get in the car, go do whatever. And then then I started doing like sort of local dance festivals around the area where I was learning. I mean, I think something ridiculous. I was at the age of like 8 and I was doing like 30 dances, like solos, duets, trios, groups, the lot. I loved it. So yeah, and we just traveled around, we did that. So I've literally been doing it since I was a baby, since I was little.
Do you know what? That's so lovely to hear, that this passion of yours has just grown and grown and grown, and it wasn't sort of thrust upon you, that you found it yourself and you were driven from such a tender age just to pursue this dream. Tiny. I'd love to see tiny Megan dancing. That would have been so cute. You're going to have to send me some photos.
I think she was I was a little bit too big for my boots, I'm not going to lie. I think I was a little bit cocky, actually. I can imagine other people probably really didn't like me, because I used to love being on stage, and I would walk out there and like start in my ballet position. I bet people used to think, who is this child? But
I can totally relate. I was an attention-seeking child. I was one of those thespian children that was always putting on a play for my parents.
I have a feeling we actually used to make our mum pay for our plays. We used to like take money for it at the door.
Damn, I missed a trick there. Oh my goodness. You really did. Oh. So here you are, a money-grabbing child full of dance, cocky in her boots because she knew what she wanted and wanted. I'm going to say focused. I think focused is a better word than cocky. Focused on her ambition. How did that carry on into your teenage years? Because obviously when a lot of creative children get to their teenage years, they're either distracted by boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, or different things going on in school. What were you like as a teenager, and were you still obsessed with dance through that period of time?
So as a teenager, I was lucky enough at 11, I was accepted to the Royal Ballet School in London, which is a very prestigious ballet school, and it's a boarding school. So you go away to London, and I mean, you do 4.5 hours of dancing every day on top of doing schoolwork at the same time. So it's it's a full on, you're thrown into a very professional environment where you're going because dancing is going to be what you're going to do. So it's kind of, I suppose, like if you played for Chelsea and you were in the under 18s Chelsea football team, or it's that kind of the equivalent of that. So sort of went away and had gone from being sort of one of the best dancers in my area, had been somebody that, like, you know, I had won a lot at the festivals, had done really well, was really, you know, was sort of kind of like, wow, I've done great, to suddenly going to a place where you're 12 of the best dancers in the world, girls wise, being put in. I think that you're suddenly gone from being a big fish in a small pond to being a very small fish in a very big pond. You're sort of, I think, confidence definitely took a bit of a knock, and suddenly you were put into an environment where people are telling you all the time that you're too tall, or you're too fat, or you're too this, you're too that. And that sort of thing really does affect you, I think, as a teenager. And it really did me. I mean, I was told all the time that you weren't going to make it as a ballet dancer because you're too tall, or you're too fat, or you're too this. So I think that definitely, I went into a bit kind of not into a shell. I was still positive and I still had an amazing support system around me, but I definitely wasn't that sort of happy-go-lucky child that I had been before.
It's so interesting that you should say that, because I have a friend, and I won't name her because I know she had a real battle. She was also accepted into ballet school because you have to keep your body in certain condition and all the rest of it. She did end up with an eating disorder and left the ballet school, and it was her dream, but it's a tough environment, isn't it? And it crushed her.
You've got to have a very thick skin, very.
How on earth did you get through it? What did you have to say to yourself to keep yourself going?
I think for me, I got to a point where at some stage I was very, very tall, and I'm a curvy person. I've got boobs, I've got a bum. I'm not afraid of that. But it got to a point where I thought, okay, maybe classical ballet isn't the one for me. I don't really have the drive to not want to eat. I love food. I'm not gonna not do that. There are other avenues. I want to dance. There is going to be somebody out there that is going to look at me and go, do you know what? You are perfect. And they want me just because I'm not right for the Royal Ballet School, and just because I'm not right for classical ballet doesn't mean that I'm going to be wrong for everything. Sort of, I think I got to a point where I was like, no, I'm accepting that I'm brave enough, and sort of screw you. If you don't believe in me, I believe in myself. And I was very lucky that I had the most incredible family who have honestly supported me through everything. And they are my rock. Like, they have supported me through everything. And through all of that, they made sure that I enjoyed life. I was still a normal teenager. I still came home and did fun things. I went to house parties, because they were like, this isn't everything. The school is not everything. So I think that's how I sort of got myself through it.
It's, another really, really important thing, isn't it? Because again, when people go away to any particular independent school that teaches in one specific craft, it does become such a competitive, ambitious space, doesn't it? Because of those roles are so limited, because you do have to be the best of the best in the world to get those jobs. And I'm so, so pleased that you had that incredible support system, and that you were able to just tell yourself, you know what, I'm not going to fit every mold, and that's okay. And thank God that you thought that way, because we'll get on to later how you've made a success of yourself and your body, which is amazing. So when you first started out, and you're in this space where you're being molded as a teenager, and your hormones and your feelings are so amplified, who inspired you at that point? Who was the person that you looked up to in the ballet world, in your personal life? Who are those people that really, really inspired you to keep going with this ambition?
I think definitely Sharon Linden, who was my teacher in Plymouth. She was always my number one supporter. She made sure that I believed in myself. She gave me everything possible to go away with. And she's always been my biggest supporter up until now. But also definitely her daughter, Katrina, who I have just done my first professional contract with, which was one of my wishes on my 7th birthday, actually, in my little wish fairy, that I danced with Katrina. But she, same as me, went away to the Royal Ballet School, sort of turned around and was like, do you know what, I don't know if I want to do this classical thing. Went on, and she is a huge success herself now. She always inspired me. I looked up to her and thought, you know, I want to be like Katrina. She was the most driven, lovely, charismatic, enthusiastic person. And every time she walked into a studio, she just gave it 110%. It didn't matter what she was doing. She gave it everything. And I think she was a massive inspiration for me as a child, definitely.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear, because I think those teachers that come into your life that really shape who you are, they're just so important. And we remember them forever, don't we?
Always.
Yeah. So what was the first ballet that you saw that sort of inspired you and you thought, you know what, this is it. This is what I want to do forever?
I remember watching Birmingham Royal Ballet come down to Plymouth a lot. And I remember going to the Theatre Royal, and it must have been either Nutcracker or Swan Lake that I watched in the Theatre Royal. And I'd also seen a lot of the West End shows that had come down as well, because I was very interested in doing, it wasn't just ballet for me always, and it still isn't now. If I was asked to do a West End show, I'd absolutely, hands down, do it. Like, it would be amazing. But I remember just watching all of those and just thinking, these people get paid and get to do all this fun for a living. Like, this is what I need to be doing. I absolutely loved it. But I think the show that made me, but it wasn't really that long ago, to be honest. I always knew I wanted to dance, but the show that really lit a fire inside me, I went to see Mathew Bourne's Carman at Sadler's Wells. It must have been in first or second year of Rambert University. And I went to go see Carman, and it was this sexy, fiery, they proper danced, they were into the ground. It was just like they were acting, everything about it. I left and was like, I need to watch that again and again and again. And even just watching it, I felt like I was a part of it. So I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be on stage. And that was something that I was like, okay, I'm going to work for Mathew Bourne's New Adventures one day. And that was like the moment where I was like, that's what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so pleased to say, you know, fast forward in the interview a little bit, but I'm so pleased to say that ambition came true. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, and how you literally manifested your dream, which is amazing. Because you are one of those sexy, fiery dancers just by nature, and with that gorgeous body of yours as well. It just absolutely lends itself to that kind of dance. I'm so excited to talk about that.
Thank you.
So can you remember, like, so you've gone through the Royal Ballet School, you've joined Rambert, and then what happens? Can you remember your sort of first professional audition, that space where someone went, right, I want you in the show, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. How was that? What did you have to do, and who was it for?
So my first professional contract was actually with Thursford Christmas Spectacular, which is it's the biggest Christmas show in Europe, which I'd actually never heard of beforehand, which sounds ridiculous because now that I've been there, I'm like, how did I not know about this? But went to the audition, it was like hundreds, it must have been about 600 girls auditioned for it. And I was like, okay, this must be a real big deal. Got to this it's in Norfolk. It's like a tiny little village in Norfolk, and it is just the biggest Christmas. It's like somebody's thrown up Christmas directions everywhere. There are decorations, there are baubles, there are lights, there are reindeers, there's moving set, like there's everything you could possibly want. And that was my first professional show, was in Thursford. I did a lot. It was like showgirl, ballet, rock and roll, Irish. I did it all, but I performed there for 3 months over October to Christmas, and that was a wonderful, wonderful way to enter the professional world. It really was. It was just this group of girls, 22 of us all together, and it was just magical. It was really wonderful contract, and I hold that one very, very close to my heart. I really did love that contract.
I mean, come on, you're literally stepping into Christmas for 3 months. That's so amazing. It must have been like working at Disney World for 3 months.
Literally.
I can't even imagine. Can you remember the first time in that performance where you sort of like stepped out in front of the audience? How were you feeling, and how did it feel when you came off the stage?
Oh, I was actually really nervous because it wasn't, I don't know, I felt a lot of responsibility on my hands, obviously, as it being my first job. I really wanted to do well, and I really wanted the choreographers and people there to be like, we've made the right choice picking her. And I remember we were wearing a showgirl, we had a bra on, these beautiful high-waisted pants, fishnets, big feathers. I'm talking like a feather tail, big feather hat, like proper Vegas showgirls.
Wow.
And we sort of walked on, and we did these like really sexy walks on hips, and I just felt like the dog's bollocks. Honestly, I got to the front and I was like, bam, and I looked to the front and I just thought, you know what, all those nerves, it just didn't matter. I just suddenly became this like showgirl goddess. Came off, and it was just that rush of, obviously you've got so many quick changes throughout. It was just go, go, go from there. And I didn't breathe or have a moment until when the show stopped and we all got back to the dressing room. And it was just these group of girls like squealing like, it was so much fun, oh my God. Like, it was just ridiculous. And it was lovely. And I really, it was great. Such good fun.
You've just painted such a wonderful, wonderful picture. And I could feel that exhilaration as you're talking about it. So what does a day in a ballet dancer look like? Like, how do you look after your body? What does it feel like when you wake up in the morning? What does it look like? What does your day look like?
Well, so when I was the job that I've just done, performance wise, was off the scale. You were doing sort of 8 shows a week. It was really quite intense. Getting up in the morning is near impossible. It is honestly, like, every joint, bone, muscle, you're just like, oh my God. Like, you're honestly getting to work is like, I don't quite know if I'm going to be able to do today. But normally, so if I'm performing in a show, you sort of, let's say it's a double show day, I'd get myself up early in the morning, try and have a cold shower.
Why?
Because it wakes me up, and two, it's quite nice on your muscles. Sometimes the heat sometimes makes me feel a little bit lethargic. I think it's just me, but I do know lots of my other sort of friends do that. But try and have a bit of a cold shower, wake yourself up, get yourself moving. Definitely get a coffee. I mean, I physically can't walk into the building without a coffee.
I'm literally drinking one right now, darling.
Yes. So get myself a coffee, and then every day you have to do an hour either ballet or contemporary class. So you'd warm yourself up, get your body moving, get every little niggle, joint, anything that's feeling a little bit sore, warm that up and through. Then we'd go through notes and rehearse anything that went wrong. If you swap over partners, you do a partner swap. So you'd do it with your different partners, work out grips and things. Then eat food. Absolutely got to get some lunch in. And then it's just towards the end of the tour, I definitely tried to push how long it would take me to do my makeup. Like when I first started, it'd be like a work of art. Then the lunch became a little bit more important towards the end. So I was like, how quick can I do my makeup in 15 minutes? Yes. It would be like, go. So we'd do your makeup, put your hair into pin curls, wigs on, then get into your costume, prepare yourself for your show. And everybody's got their very different little ritual to, get themselves ready to perform on stage. But I mean, at the moment, day in life of a dancer is trying to keep as fit as possible. I'm doing loads of workouts all like in the day, hits, strength training. I'm very, very lucky. My lovely boyfriend is a personal trainer. So I'm having the best time. He is training me. I'm having a great time, but trying to keep also, I think, flexibility that goes so quickly. So trying to stretch, trying to keep all of that, and also try and do as many new adventures of doing ballet classes and contemporary classes on Zoom. Right. So trying to do that about whacking a table, sink, trying to do that in a living room. So that's kind of been my life at the moment.
It's so nice, though, to hear that you're still motivated, because a lot of creatives around me, and myself included, procrastination has been a massive thing through this lockdown, because you don't have that set regimen. You don't have that discipline with someone saying, this has to be done by this time, or you need to be here at this time. Yeah. So what is motivating you to keep going through this time, other than, your Zoom classes?
I mean, for me, I have to agree with you. It's been very up and down. Sometimes I very much have given up on the ballet classes. The last lockdown, I just didn't attend any. I was in a real sort of rut, and I was like, what is the point in doing this? What are we achieving? What am I doing it for? I sort of got to that point. But at the moment, I think because I'm trying to keep as positive as possible, there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel at some point. At some point where we will get back on stage, all of us, and I know we will. And instead of going, well, why am I doing this? I don't have a job, blah, blah, blah. I think for me, I know that whenever we can, auditions and jobs and things are going to blow up, and there's going to be people wanting to do creative things everywhere. And I just want to be the most prepared I can be. So when I go out there, I can feel proud of whatever I'm putting out there. I think that's, for me, I'm just like, it's going to happen. Come on, you can do it. And I am a real creature of habit. I have to do a workout in the morning. If I don't do it in the morning, I won't do it at all. So I get everything done, make sure that that's okay. And then I still have agencies. They might send you through, you've got a self-tape for this, that, the other. And you can sort of manage your life around the little things that come in. But I think it's going to happen. So we just need to be like, come on, let's do it. It's going to happen.
So whilst you're doing all of this sort of vigorous training and stuff, how do you protect yourself from, really crucially hurting yourself? Or have you ever hurt yourself physically and had to sort of rehabilitate yourself? What happens there?
So do you know what? Touch wood, I've been rather lucky. I've never had a major injury that has really, really set me back in anything that I've done. I do sort of pride myself in I do a lot of core stability, a lot of training in a way to manage the muscles and manage the slight injuries. I think for me, my back has always been, my lower back is the place, if I'm tired And if I'm not looking after myself properly and sort of not controlling my movement enough on stage, I will always feel it in my lower back. So that's always a place that I have to make sure I look after. But we're very lucky when we're with the company. We have physios that come on tour with us. We have extra Pilates classes, core and strength and all of that. So we are very, very lucky. But at the moment, I think it's very much but being okay with not doing the full, being okay with just moving your body, keeping it active and, you know, pushing it slightly, but being okay with you're not in a studio, you've not got a sprung floor, you're not training however many times a day. I think being okay with just sort of keeping yourself going and knowing that when you have that opportunity to get back in the studio, then you can start to push yourself. If you're trying to do too much on your concrete floor in your tiny flat, I think that's when, you know, little injuries happen and you hurt your shins, or you hurt whatever. So I think I've just been trying to maintain everything that I already have, not push myself too much, and then when I get back to it, I really will go for it.
Oh my goodness, the life of a ballet dancer.
So exciting.
I know, it does sound exciting. I'm just like listening to you going, yeah, I really should probably do more than just walk up and down my lane for my exercise, you know? I should actually push myself.
I think yesterday I had a look at my steps and I was like, oh my God, I've only done like 1,000 steps. Jesus. So I was like, this is really bad.
Well, it's good to know you are human on some level, Megan Cameron.
Yes.
So I want to take you back into to performing now. So you've just come out of this amazing Christmas show. What happens next? Because you must have been on a massive high.
I mean, I definitely was. So finished that was amazing because before that had happened, I'd had a year out where I hadn't had any jobs. So I just got this one and I was like, amazing. Okay, I'm on a roll. What happens now? I had previously, the February before that Christmas, I had auditioned for Mathew Bourne's Cinderella. I think they were only looking for a boy though, but they wanted to see a big variety of people. And I did that. And I got an email from him saying, look, we really liked you. We can't have you for Cinderella. We'd love you to come back and audition for Swan Lake. We're going to be putting on this thing called Swan School. And we want you to come to it. It's like a week-long course. We're doing sort of, you know, working people through different parts of the show, seeing what you're good for, all this, that, the other. So it's like amazing. So I literally finished the show, and then in the new year, in the beginning, I think it's the first week of January, I went to a swan school.
Wow.
Did that, was amazing, left, and then I got invited. I didn't have to go to the preliminary, couldn't speak then, auditions, but I could come straight to the final. So I was like, okay, fine, great, I'll come straight to the final. And I remember it was at Erdang in Angel in London, and I had the morning slot, so we did a whole it must have been like 3 hours long.
Wow.
Class. We did 2 different reps. We learned 2 styles and parts from the show, and then literally that was it. They're like, Matt was there, everybody was sat, and it was like, yeah, that was it, fine, yeah, you can go. And then on the 28th of February, I remember it, the day, it had been snowing and it was lots of snow outside, and I got an email at something like 4 minutes past 11. This is how much I remember it. And it came through, and I just looked, and I just went into the other room, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to open it. I don't know what it says. And I just opened it, and it said, it was a personal message from Matt just saying, we'd like to have you on board for the Swan Lake tour, the UK and international tour, as the Hungarian Princess. So I was like, and I was absolutely, and I just burst into tears. I was so happy. It was a really, really amazing moment.
I mean, that is literally every ballet dancer's dream, isn't it? To be part of Swan Lake in any capacity, anywhere in the world. And here you were with Mathew Bourne, one of the most prestigious people in the whole entire ballet community. I mean, my goodness, what an opportunity. I can just imagine you now just like crying with joy and calling your mum. And
so happy.
It must have been amazing. And I know that through that performance as well, you've also covered the Queen in that particular production as well, haven't you?
Yes. Oh my God. I mean, wasn't actually told by Matt. He's very good at like missing out key things that you need to know. He told me I was doing the Hungarian Princess, and then we went for a costume fitting, and I was trying on this beautiful red ball gown, which I know for a fact the Hungarian Princess does not wear because I've watched the show. Right? It was like, I said to our lovely wardrobe lady, Deanne, I said, I'm really, why have I got a red dress on? She was like, what do you mean, why have I got a red dress on? I was like, well, this is definitely not the Hungarian Princess costume. She was like, no, darling, you're cover queen. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you're the cover queen. And I had a look and it was on paper. Then about 2 days later, I got a message from Matt saying, can you come in slightly earlier? We were coming in sort of the end of August. She was like, can you come in sort of a week before? Because we're going to do stuff for the Queen. And I came in and I learned the Queen Stranger duet, performed it for him, and he was like, yeah, you can keep the role, you can be the cover queen. And I was extremely lucky. As a cover, you usually only perform sort of once or twice maximum. They sort of give you an opportunity to do it. I was very lucky. My first show was in Bristol, so my mum, my sister and my grandma could come and watch it because I was so close to Plymouth. And then unfortunately the Queen in Nicole Cabrera, who's an amazing, gorgeous dancer and actress, she injured herself in Korea. And I got to perform, I think I did like 10 or 11 Queen shows, and I did the end of China and Korea, and it was the moment that I was like, I have made it. And I was performing opposite Katrina Linden, who obviously was my inspiration as a child, as the girlfriend. I was performing opposite her in principal roles. I just thought, Jesus, like, this is literally everything I had wished for as a child, and I'm here now doing it. So yeah, that was a really, very lucky. I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity.
I mean, Swan Lake is the creme de la creme, isn't it? And you got to travel the world. Whereabouts did you manage to go? Like, where did you perform?
Oh my God, we were so lucky. And it literally just finished before everything COVID-wise. I finished my last performance and I was so lucky. But we did the whole of the UK and travelled to beautiful, beautiful parts, you know, your Edinburghs, Dublin, all of those places. Then we were lucky enough, we did Japan for 2 weeks.
Wow.
We did 6 weeks in China doing various different places. We did 3 weeks in South Korea. And then we did LA for 6 weeks over Christmas and New Year, which was like rock star lifestyle, living in like penthouse, ridiculous.
Wow.
And then Washington for a week and New York for 2. I made my New York debut and we finished in New York. So that was a really, on Broadway, that was pretty special.
It's almost like you might as well just give up now because you've done everything.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
Wonderful.
I said this to my mum. I was like, I don't think anything's going to top it. I just need to I don't know, think of something else. Maybe I'll go into pottery or something. I quite like pottery.
Oh my goodness, hilarious. Yeah, please don't do that yet. What has been your sort of biggest challenge through that performance then? What was the thing that sort of like faced you every day that you thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to overcome this in order to give my best performance?
I think for me, Swan Lake wise, because I was doing covering a principal role, I was only given one role of my own, because as a new person to the company, they don't like to bombard you with too much. So I had the Hungarian Princess and then I covered the Queen. But obviously I rarely did the Queen. So I was doing the same role. I did like 283 shows of the Hungarian Princess. And so I think the challenge for me was going out there every day and finding something new and exciting in it, because I found, within a couple months, I found my character. I knew who she was. I knew who she was, what she was about, who she wanted to talk to, what she disliked, what she didn't, all that sort of thing I had. So I think it was just trying to find new little things and make it exciting and challenge myself acting wise, or maybe change up how I wanted to portray her on stage or how I reacted to a partner. I very much had to find lots of new things. I think that was my biggest challenge. Every now and again I was pretty good, but every now and again I get to a show and I'd be like, do you know what, there is nothing new that makes me want to do this. There's nothing new. I've seen all these people, I've done this, but the music starts, you get out on stage. It doesn't matter if your body hurts. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted. It doesn't matter if you're hungover from the night before. Like, you get out there and you do it. And suddenly you're in this world and it is amazing. But I think that was the challenge for me.
Oh, I'm glad you managed to keep going through that time as well. And but was there ever a point where you ever thought about quitting?
Do you know what? Yes, there was. I just finished Rambert. I graduated with, I had the possibility of having a job, and then it had been taken away from me and they didn't want me anymore. And I came away and I had sort of a year out before I auditioned for Thursford in the May, where I had nothing. I was like slaving away. I was going to audition after audition, being told you're too tall, or, oh, you're not quite right for our show. Oh, we actually wanted a blonde pert girl, not brunette, like literally ridiculous things. And I remember it. I was at home and I came storming downstairs to my mum and I was like, I just wanted to announce to everybody that I'm actually going to give up dancing. Mum was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. What are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to join the police force. She was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Went back upstairs and I think Mum said I was up there for about 2 hours or so. And then I came back downstairs and I was like, I'm just wanted to let everybody know I'm actually going to continue dancing. And my mum was like, okay, cool. We thought that was going to happen. So that was one moment. But I was really like, I had this surge of energy and I was like, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. Came down. But anyway, I changed my mind pretty quickly. I was like, actually, I don't really want to be in the police force. So
So for other people that have maybe just come out of ballet school and they're faced with that time before they get that job, what advice would you give them just to keep going and pursuing their dream?
There's a handful of people in this world that are going to be handed everything to them and everything's going to run so smoothly. They're going to come out of school, they're going to get a job, they're then going to move up in the company. Like, there are a handful of people that happen to, and I am very, very happy for those people. But for me, I like that fight. I like having my fire within me being ignited every now and again, and I won't let anybody blow out my candle. My dance candle is there, and I'm not going to let anybody blow that out. It doesn't matter what you do. And also, not to be upset if you have to have what I call a normal people job, a muggle job. If you need to go and work in a cafe to get some money so you can go out to London and do your auditions, you do that. At the moment, since I've been working in a restaurant, it's okay to sometimes go in a different direction and then come back in, but just keep yourself going, because there's going to be somebody that sits behind that desk and is going to go, you are perfect for for the job that we're doing, for what I want. That's not going to happen all the time, but it will happen. If you sort of manifest your dreams and go for it, I really do believe one door closes, another one opens. It will happen. Oh, give it time.
I feel all pepped up now. I'm like, yes, I'm going to keep going. And you're absolutely...
You can do it.
I can do it. I can just keep swimming like Dory.
Just keep swimming.
I was just thinking as you were saying that, taking on those muggle jobs. I love that phrase. I think that's fantastic. It's part and parcel, isn't it, of that creative lifestyle. If you want this life, which is temperamental, which is up and down, you don't know where your next job is coming from, those jobs are crucial. And also you can use them as sort of a learning ground, can't you? Because working in a restaurant and stuff, you're interacting with other people, you're still having to put on a show of something.
Absolutely.
And you're having to keep yourself in a different persona to your natural persona all the time. And you can absolutely use those jobs as learning opportunities for your craft, can't you?
Definitely. I've learned invaluable lessons from working in pubs and restaurants and sort of communicating with people. And like you said, you're not financially stable as a self-employed performer. You're not. So those little jobs are, they're perfect just to give you that extra wiggle room, that extra bit of cash if you need it here and there. Like, they really are. You shouldn't be afraid to be having loads of different jobs on the go. It's fine.
And it doesn't mean that you failed, because I know that a lot of people that are in the creative arts, they feel that somehow they failed because they're having to take these opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's so sad, because it doesn't mean that. It just means that you are keeping going, that you are still fighting for your dream, just as you say, which is
everybody's been there. We've all been there.
Exactly.
You're never ever alone. If you think you're embarrassed to tell somebody that you're now working part-time at a cafe, like, we've all been there. Everybody's done it. You're not alone.
You're not alone. We're crying. Okay, so this brings me on to personal life, because I know as a creative, sometimes it's tough on our relationships, and I know that you're very lucky that you have a supportive boyfriend, and I'm in the same position. I'm lucky enough to have another creative as my husband. But what are your sort of like little tips for keeping your relationship strong, especially when you're going on tour, especially when the other person may feel insecure about your job?
So I've only recently just met my partner Harry, and he is an absolute diamond. He supports me through everything. If I need a self-tape, he gets that ring light out. If I need a dance video, he'll stand in the freezing cold and film it. Like, he is just next to none. He's fantastic. Before, when I was on Swan Lake, I was with a different boyfriend at the time, and he wasn't very supportive of me, not in a way that he wasn't mean or nasty or anything. He just really wasn't very interested. He didn't really care for what I did, and I understand dancing and what I do is not everybody's cup of tea, but I did an 18-month tour, and I think he watched it once. And as a performer, you want somebody who's going to be there really supporting you. It's hard enough as it is getting up every day and going up there and pushing yourself and fighting for what you want. You really want somebody who, when you are feeling down or you're aching or you're hurting, is going to go, do you need a bath? Do you want me to drive you?
You need a cheerleader.
You need those little things. And I think personal life wise, for me, I've said this to any partner that I've ever had, my career will become first always. I've put too much time, effort, tears, blood, everything into this world that I've created for myself, and nobody's going to stop me from doing that. So you're either on board with it or you're not. It's one, you either get in the boat and you join me, or you're not. And I travel the world and do amazing things. I know that Harry said to me he's so excited to do that with me, to come and visit me in these amazing places and watch me perform my craft and things. But I mean, personal life wise, my sort of top tips and things are, make sure that whatever you're doing, whether it's your art or whether it's your personal life, one isn't becoming greater than the other. You still need to enjoy yourself. Go to the pub, drink with your friends, have a lovely time, go for a nice meal, go to the theatre, whatever you need to do. You need to have your down days, and you need to be normal. You need to be a normal person. But if you're like partying too much and that's creeping into you not training enough or not looking after yourself, or vice versa, if you're in the studio working yourself to the bone all the time and you're not interacting with other people, you're not having a life and making memories, then that's when you've got an issue. You need to really make sure that you balance that out correctly. And sometimes one will become more than the other, and that's not a bad thing. But if you're really striving for a goal, you need to make sure, I sort of try and keep my week as working out, training hard, looking after myself, eating well, that sort of thing. And then the weekend, I can afford to relax a little bit more, watch some more Netflix series, have a drink with my boyfriend, do that sort of thing. I think you need a nice little routine.
I think that's really, really important. And just to remind your partner that they are part of your life, and they are equal to you, and their dreams are just as important as your own, aren't they?
Absolutely. You need to support each other in everything. You just need to be there. It doesn't matter what they want to do. You just need to support them.
How do you support each other with sort of mental health stuff? So I know that things like stress and anxiety and, all of those things that creep into a very, very tough creative regime. What do you do to keep on top of your mental health and to look after each other's?
For me and Harry, we are big on talking and communication. I think it's so important. And I think especially men don't talk about their emotions enough. They don't. There's a very big stigma around it, and I think it definitely is getting better. I think there's definitely more light being put onto it, and I think it is getting better. But we communicate a lot, we talk to each other. When I get quite anxious quite a lot and stressed out about money and about not having enough money, that's something that really stresses me out. And we just work through things together. We put it out and we're like, we've got each other. We bounce off each other. We work with each other. And I think he's been massive in my mental health. So, I mean, and it's exactly the same. My mum and sister are always there for me to talk through stuff. And sometimes, I get really ahead of myself and I make loads of nonsense up in my head. My mum's like, it's not even happened yet. Don't stress about things that haven't happened. Like, I just, honestly... And I think we do mindfulness as well. We do headspace and mindfulness, which is really helpful. And also taking time away from my phone.
Yes. Now,
oh my God,
I have
it needs to.
Yeah. Do you know what's so funny? You should say that. So I said this in my last interview, actually, with a lovely guy called Richard Simmons. Go back and listen to that, listeners, if you haven't already. I actually gave up my phone on the 1st of February this year for that exact reason, because mental health wise, it just wasn't doing me any good. And I don't have it anymore. I just have, access on the mainframe. I've got an iPad if I want to check in with people on Instagram, etc. But moving away from my phone has been the best mental health decision I've ever made. How do you control that? Because it's so addictive, isn't it? And especially if you're waiting for those calls for work to come in. Like, what do you do? Do you lock it in the freezer for 2 days?
No, I should.
What do you do?
I actually, back along, my phone broke. So I actually it wasn't a choice that I picked, but I'm glad it happened. My phone broke and it was out for a while because the guy at the phone shop was taking ages on it. And that's a complete another story. I was not happy about it, but anyway. But it meant that I didn't have a phone. I had my laptop if I had emails and things, but I didn't have my phone. And I found that I was doing things like reading more. I was expanding my knowledge in different ways, going out, actually concentrating on TV shows instead of sort of half and half. And I think Instagram is such a wonderful place for meeting other creatives and sharing your work, and a lovely positive place. But it's also, the hundreds of amazing comments you get, that one negative one will stick with you. And I think it's so, especially I feel very sorry for young people now that, I didn't grow up at school with Instagram. I think I got it in year 11 when I was just leaving. I feel sorry for the children that have it the whole way through, because as a teenager, you're vulnerable, you're naive, you're scared, you're afraid, you're just trying to find yourself. You don't really know. You're growing into this weird person. Suddenly you've got boobs and you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I couldn't imagine then scrolling through and seeing all these women with stick thin bodies, or somebody on this amazing holiday, or somebody with this filter. I don't know. For me, I think taking time away from my phone has really helped my mental health this time round.
Oh, it's so good to hear that. And again, it's something that I refer to a lot, is that compare and despair thing. It's just a platform really where you do end up feeling crushed inside, that you're either not doing enough or you're not, putting yourself out there in the right way, and your aesthetics on Instagram have to be a certain way. It is a bit of a nightmare sometimes. But like you rightly said, thank God that creators in particular have a platform where they can come together and they can share and boost each other up as well. So it's so important, isn't it, to look after that sector of your life. So obviously it's called the Brave Moment podcast. So I want to talk to you just a little bit about those moments where you've considered them to be your bravest, and that can be literally a physical moment, a spiritual moment, an emotional moment. What do you consider to be your bravest moments?
I think for me, my bravest moments in dance are definitely, I've already touched on it slightly, but the deciding I wasn't going to be a classical ballet dancer was one of my bravest moments. Accepting that I didn't have the body, I was too tall, just sitting down and going, do you know what? I'm not going to be that. And I know I've gone to the Royal Ballet School, but it doesn't matter. I am just a dancer. That is what I do. I can do whatever I want to do It may not be what they want me to do, but I'm going to do it. And I think for me, that was a really, really tough decision, because I really thought I was going to do classical ballet. And then I became a woman and I grew into a different way. And it was actually, no, do you know what? That is not right for me. If I do that, I'm going to be the tall dancer that stands at the back of the corps de ballet that nobody sees. I'm better than that. So I'm going to actually expand my horizons and go elsewhere. I think that's probably one of my bravest moments.
That's and such a crucial one. And just sort of, I'm trying to put myself into a dancer's shoes for a minute and thinking, okay, if I was a young dancer and I had my heart set on this classical ballet and I didn't know what other things I could do with my dance, can you give us some examples of other areas that dancers with a different body type can jump into, other than, you know, Mathew Bourne dance company or whatever? What other things can they do? Like, where could they focus their attentions?
There are your options are endless, and when you're in a place like the Royal Ballet School, they pigeonhole you to believe that that's the only place you need to be. You need to go to the upper school, you need to go to the company. There is so much more. You've got the West End. If you're musical, if you've got a banging voice on you, get yourself into West End musicals. There's plays. If you're good at acting and you want to explore that, you can go into doing plays. They even have physical theatre as part of them. Cruise ships. Now, cruise ships have such a bad name for themselves, and I do not know why. People are like, oh, you do a cruise ship. You travel the world, you pay no taxes on anything. You literally go to the most amazing places. Like, my friends are spending Christmas Day in like the Caribbean or the Bahamas. Like, cruise ships, amazing. And they want all shapes and sizes. You know, they need aerial people. They need people for the musicals. They need people showgirl wise. You can go to Paris and become an amazing showgirl. If you're tall, get yourself to Crazy Horse, get yourself to Le Lido, to Paris. Like, the options are endless. You can go into contemporary, you can do modern, you can do lyrical. Tap, if you want to do tap. I'm terrible at tap, but if you want to do tap, do tap. Like, there's so many. You've got all of the options in the world.
I absolutely agree. And as you were talking to just right there, I was thinking about some of my friends that do have one of the beautiful, more curvaceous bodies, etc., etc. One of them is now a massive influencer online. She's coming on the show later, so I won't spoil her for you. But I've also got friends who are like dancers in music videos and stuff.
Commercial dancers.
Even like
amazing.
Commercial dancers and fitness videos. Like, I love, there's a guy called The Fitness Marshal. Go check him out. He's amazing. He's always really conscious about featuring people that don't have a classical body type for dance, that are tall, that are a little bit more curvaceous, that are just have that, you know, all the curves in all the right places. And he's got millions and millions of people on board with him. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, in today's society, I think that the dance world is definitely a little bit more generous with their sort of classical image, which is fantastic to see. And I'm so glad that you're at the beginning, you're at that precipice of those changes within dance as well, and one of the pioneers for it as well. So, you know, it's brilliant to watch. What do you imagine you're going to do next? Have you got any sort of next ambition that you might manifest on the show right now?
Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm really manifesting. I really want to do a musical next, actually. I'm really wanting to go down the West End route. I know that Moulin Rouge, the musical, is coming to London. It's supposed to be this year. I don't know if it will, but I am manifesting big time. I'd love to do that. I think that would be awesome. And any more New Adventures shows. I mean, I absolutely love my New Adventures family. I would love to do that. And I think I'm also manifesting, hopefully at some point, wanting to get more into the music video sort of commercial world as well. Just try it, give it a go.
And you're also incredibly good looking. I know I've seen some of your modelling shoots. And seriously, just go and check out Megan Cameron on Instagram. You will not be sorry, my friends.
It's a nice bit of makeup and lighting, I tell you that. I don't look like that right now, my dressing gown.
I'm the same. I've got my hair scraped up, no makeup on, in my leopard print leggings, loving life.
Yes, leopard print.
So Before we go into some sort of crazy random questions to finish off the show, what further advice can you give to those that are just starting out, that haven't been sort of impressioned with anything or whatever just yet? Like, what do you wish you'd known when you first started?
I think, like, my mum always used to say, you've got 2 shoes, you've got 2 feet, you can steer yourself in any direction. And I think that for me, remembering that and going, do you know what? Actually, I am capable of doing anything I want. I'm in my prime. I am here. Live for the moment. You live in the now. Don't worry too much about, it's good to think about your future, but live for right now, what you're doing, because you'll never get that back again. So I think that's what, for anybody just starting out, you can steer yourself any direction you want to. Just, if you believe in yourself, other people will believe in you.
Yes! That's the best advice ever. Okay, Megan Cameron, are you ready for your quick fire question round?
Yes, I am.
Amazing. Okay, so you have to just answer these questions off the top of your head. No thinking required.
Okay.
Here we go. Are you ready? Right,
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Who is your musical hero?
Queen.
Ballet hero?
Marianela Nunez.
Can you say that again?
Marianela Nunez. She's a Spanish dancer. She's a principal at the Royal Ballet, and she's just absolutely perfect. She's perfection, everything.
Best friend at school?
Remy.
Favourite motivational song?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Epic fail?
Oh, I lost a shoe during my Queen duet in Korea. It came flying off, and I had to do the rest of it with one shoe on.
Oh my goodness! How did you carry on? How did you not just lose your nerve?
I literally just, and then I turned to my partner Max, and I was like, Max, I've lost a shoe. He was like, where is it? I was like, I don't know. And like, I was just on stage doing, and where I had tights on, you could hear it squeaking along the lino on the floor. It's like, as I was doing things, that was a fail. That was a big fail.
Last time that you were dancing in a theatre, and what theatre was it?
It was February, and it was the New York City Centre.
Oh, that's just a massive mic drop right there. Last thing you watched in the theatre?
Probably my own show, Swan Lake.
Oh, nice. Keeping the respect and realness. I love it. Favourite item of clothing?
Oh, I've got a camel coat that I'm in love with.
Oh, love it. Last text you received?
My mum. No,
what
it's my
mum.
She said, enjoy your podcast. Love you lots.
Oh, shout out Rachel Cameron, you legend.
Yeah, big up.
If you could have any other talent, what would it be other than pottery?
Speaking different languages. I'd love to be able to speak some different languages. I think that is such a talent to have.
Favourite book?
Small Great Things by Jodie Picoult, I think. Yeah, it's a really, really good book.
Favourite film?
Oh, Harry Potter, any of them.
Yes!
Any of them.
Favourite trait in human beings?
Kindness.
Worst trait in human beings?
Rudeness. I hate rude people.
Oh,
just say thank you, or just say excuse me. Like, it really doesn't take much.
Do you know what my pet peeve is? When I'm driving and you let someone go through and they don't say thank you. That's a massive pet peeve for me.
Yeah, that really grates on me. Don't like that.
And indicating, people that don't indicate on a roundabout.
Just tell me where you're going. I just need to know.
Favourite self attribute?
Oh, probably my positivity.
Worst self attribute?
I get so grumpy when I'm hungry.
Angry.
Grumpy. I get so hangry. Oh my God.
What's your go-to food when you're in that moment?
Oh, crisps. Anything crisp related. I love crisps. Oh my God.
Right, I think I know the answer to this question, but tea or coffee?
Oh my God, this is such a difficult one, but I'm actually a teapot. I love tea. I drink
Shut the
it.
front door. I thought you were a coffee girl.
No, I love coffee, but I do limit myself to like one a day, whereas tea, I have in like prime days of tea drinking, I have limited myself now. I could have like 12 a day.
It
was, yeah. I was on the toilet a lot, going for a wee.
Thanks for sharing, love.
Yeah, sorry everyone.
Favourite country so far?
Japan.
Why?
Oh my God, I love it. Everything is so cute. They call it kawaii. It's so like everything's cute and they're so far ahead of us. Like I got served sushi by a robot, you know, and you're like, I just don't know where I am right now, but everything is just so futuristic, and you can go on little Mario Karts, and you can go around the whole of Shibuya on a Mario Kart, and it was just like, it's so futuristic and very, very safe. I've never felt so safe somewhere.
Oh,
very safe.
I so want to go. As soon as I can travel again, Japan
God,
is
Kat,
on my bucket list.
It was absolutely your place. They'd love you.
Oh,
they really would.
I'm feeling like my heart pounding for Asia in general. In fact, the last place I went before lockdown was Vietnam, and I'm just craving. I'm craving. Oh my goodness.
Need to travel.
We need to travel so much. What series are you currently watching on Netflix?
Oh, American Horror Story Hotel.
Oh, nice. Oh my goodness. Such a good series.
Yeah, no, I've not watched this one, so I'm loving it.
What makes you laugh?
My sister and Harry, actually, my boyfriend, they both make me laugh so much. They're so strange, but they really make me laugh. I just love them.
What's your annoying habit?
Oh, I do bite my nails when I'm nervous. And I know I haven't got rid of it. And I find myself, I don't realise I'm doing it. And then I'm like, oh, it's very annoying. I hate it.
Favourite animal?
Alpacas.
Alpacas?
I love alpacas. I love that they have like little fluffy knees and like a little fluffy fro on top. I love that they make strange faces and they spit on people they don't like, and I kind of respect that. I'm like, yeah.
Favourite food other than crisps?
Oh my God, like everything. I would probably say favourite food is it's a roast dinner.
Best advice you've ever received?
Probably learn from your mistakes and never stop with like growing.
Ooh,
mistakes are really important.
Yeah, I like that. A weird thing you do?
Oh, a lot of the weird things that I do are just like all the time. But I make this weird little like chipmunk face, and I do it to my mum and sister, and it's a way of us communicating that we love each other. And we like pull our teeth up like over so you can see like your gum and your teeth. And we call it chipmunk, and we look at each other, and it's like a way of, it's really strange. We sometimes sit on the sofa and do it to each other.
I'm just imagining that right now because your face is gorgeous. Like I just can't imagine it. But you have to secretly PM me that picture. So I will. What's the closest thing to magic in real life?
Do you know what? I think, well, personally, being on stage, there's nothing else like it. But I think in general in the world, sort of nature, the ocean, the stars, the sky, that's magic to me. Sometimes when you see a sunset and it's just absolutely spectacular over the ocean, you think, Jesus, you can't get better than that.
Oh, do you know what? That's been a sort of solid favourite answer on this show. I think it's definitely a creative thing because we're used to observing it so much as well, aren't we? Sort of wanting to get out in it.
The beauty of it.
The beauty, indeed. Okay, if you, what's the song that you must sing along to when you're in the car?
Oh, it's got to be Lionel Richie. All night long, all night. Oh, that I can't help. As soon as I hear that beginning bit, and I'm like, oh, it's a jungle beat. I love it.
Okay, final question of the quickfire round. If there was a zombie apocalypse, what would you use as a weapon and where would you hide?
Okay, I would hide in Costco. They've got loads of food there and it's huge. I feel like you could easily sort of get lost in there. So much food. You'd be sorted. See, I obviously go back to food. Weapon of choice. If I could get my hand on something like a machine gun, I'd probably use it. But if I couldn't, maybe like a baseball bat with some barbed wire around it or something, like real Walking Dead style.
Oh, and you'd be able to do your makeup in 15 minutes, so you'd look hot doing it as well.
Yeah. You know, my hair might not be great, but my makeup will be better. I'll have a winged eyeliner of a lot.
Brilliant. Well, Mike and Cameron, you have survived your quick fire round. Well done. You get the solitary clap of joy.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So before we leave this interview, what advice would you like to give to the world right now in the middle of this crazy time?
My advice would be patient. And be patient and enjoy having this time, because there will never, ever be a time again where you will have this much space to explore other things. You know, people are doing all sorts, like reupholstering things, spending time with loved ones, actually watching TV shows that they've never been able to get round to seeing. Like, we'll never have this time again. So just be patient.
Very, very solid advice, Megan Cameron. Oh my goodness, you've been such a joy to be on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This has proper brightened up my week. This has been great.
Good. Yay. It's brightened up mine too. It's set the precedent for the whole entire week. So yeah, thank you so much. If people are interested in you in general, in Mathew Bourne, and following you, what are your social handles and where can they find you?
So on Instagram, I am Meggie May Cameron, which is usually, that's sort of my main account. And on there, you can go to my website, which is meganmaycameron.com. And you can just look at loads of videos and pictures. It's not that exciting, but you can go and have a little look if you want to. And that's sort of my main ones. I don't really use anything else, to be honest. But yeah, Meggie May Cameron, if you want to find me on Instagram.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, Kat, this has been a dream. Thank you.
Megan has a wonderfully strong sense of self. I mean, anyone that can navigate their way through one of the toughest and most demanding performing arts in the world can only survive with a strong and centered compass at their core. That and the loving words of those that care about them to keep their path clean of doubt. Megan is lucky to have such people to remind her of just how amazing she is, and she is amazing. Megan has categorically said from the beginning that her craft will always come first in her life. She knows exactly what she wants and how to achieve it, and just how much effort it takes. And in that, she has no room for doubt. Her clarity and drive allows her to balance everything else she needs on the scales of her dream. And if things or people in her life don't measure up, then they are lovingly let go of in favour of those that do. Dance comes with a lot more self-doubt than some other art forms. Because it is physical and relies on a strong body, not knowing what that looks like can get you into a lot of trouble. So many dancers in every gender identification are partial to eating disorders and injury because of what mentors or others in the trade deem to be the perfect body type for a dancer. But as Megan says, there is a part for everyone, and no matter what you look like, dance is dance. As long as you have strength and a ton of endurance, you will find your way. Just as your body doesn't determine your future in any other creative art, don't be afraid to stand out and stand strong in your skill and capabilities. If you want to dance, if that's your purpose, you were made to dance. Full stop. That goes for anything out there. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is love themselves. We only get one vessel in life. Let's not waste our precious time on this earth judging the flesh and bone we've been lucky enough to be given. That's too old a story for the 21st century. Instead, let's improve our minds, attitudes, language, and contribution to the diverse and colourful space we spend our time in. As Megan's mum Rachel says, if you have a pair of feet and a pair of shoes, you can go anywhere and do anything. And she is absolutely right. There is a meme that I particularly like of a horse whose bridle has been tied to a light plastic chair. And it simply reads, "Sometimes the thing holding you back is all in your mind." I love it because here you have this powerful animal completely unaware that if it decided to, it could quite easily crush that little plastic chair and gallop away. But because it has been trained to see the world in a certain way and probably gets punished for thinking otherwise, it has forgotten just how limitless it truly is. Just because someone somewhere may have told you that you need to be or behave in a certain way to get through life on their terms doesn't mean that you have lost your strength or limitless power to change how you see the situation. It's time to love that body of yours and time to check in with that inner compass and make sure you're still headed towards that dream. Creativity in all its forms comes with challenge. When you're birthing something new into the world, there is going to be a substantial amount of pain, physical and mental, but equally so much delight and wonder. Everything starts with a big bang and explosion into space, and your ideas are no exception. So make sure you are prepared emotionally for that. Reflect, breathe, take time out if you need, refocus, revise, envision, complete, and release. It all takes emotional strength. And if that means taking the short-term job, the thing that buys you time, experience, or keeps a roof over your head whilst you strive for better things, then do it with pride. Keep your eyes on that prize. Keep moving forward and keep checking in with that compass to make sure that what you're doing is leading you firmly along your path. Philip Pullman, the author of the Golden Compass trilogy, says in his book, Demon Voices, that a good story will lead you into the woods, but always back to the path. The woods are a metaphorical place of invention, creation, epiphany, magic, enchantment, reflection, and with good characters, sometimes enticing. But he reminds us that you have to remember to leave the woods and return to the path so that you can continue your story with all you have learned in that space and apply your newfound skills to what lies before you. The aim is to keep the story moving. We all have to spend time in those metaphorical woods, and it's so easy to get lost and swept up in them. So whether your woods are a dream, a lover, or a muggle job, as Megan puts it, make sure you don't lose sight of the path and get those 2 wonderful feet in those trusty shoes as soon as you can and continue on your true journey, no matter how hard it may be, no matter how comfortable and safe those woods are. Try this exercise. Get a piece of card, some glue or tape, and a bunch of magazines, books, flyers, newspapers, and find images or words and sentences that inspire you within them. Cut them out and stick them on your cardboard. Hold in your mind what it is you want to feel about your journey. Do you want to feel safe and secure? Do you want to feel alive, challenged, focused, loved, sexy, empowered, creative? Sometimes the reason we get lost in the woods is because we believe that our dream is going to be too hard or tough or challenging or financially unviable. So in fear, we stay where it's safe or where we feel like we are learning something. So that validates why we are not achieving the big dream instead. So by adding to your mood board exactly what you want to feel, it shows you the path in greater detail. Does staying in the woods make you feel empowered? No? Well, take another look at the path, aka the mood board, and find what does. Our dreams are rarely about the outcome. They are about feeling a certain way about our lives. They are about the becoming, the fulfilling, the emotional and spiritual purpose of being. So follow in Megan's footsteps. Close your eyes and look at that compass of yours and ask yourself with brutal honesty, what is really stopping you from achieving your life's purpose? Is it other people's perceptions of what your reality, your dream, should look like? Is it lack of self-belief? That you're scared of the challenge? Does it look too hard to you? Is it a personal job you may have stayed with just a little too long? Is it the fear of losing something that, if you really looked at it, could as easily be taken from you at any time? Is it time itself? These things are our little light plastic chairs that seem in charge of our actions. But you and how you deserve to feel, live, and be are as powerful and limitless as that horse. And as soon as you recognize that is who you really are, the sooner you'll be able to exercise your true capabilities. Find the compass, read it, find the path. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." And I know that all of us, myself included, are capable of such greatness. You only have to look into your own eyes to see it shining underneath. Next week on the show, we speak to creative artist Adam Moran. With many strings to his bow, Adam tells us with great humour and delight just what it takes to be an all-round performer in the 21st century. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the show. If you have a spare moment now, please like, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts in a review on Apple Podcasts, which will really help other people like yourself to find the show. Of course, you can also share the show with your friends by following us at the Brave Moment Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, or on Twitter at Moment Brave, or just follow the Linktree on all of our social media platforms. It's been so wonderful to have you all here with me again. Please get in touch with your own stories, and remember, your brave moment starts now.